Hello everyone and welcome back to another vlog. As you can see by today's title, I'm doing an introduction to my channel as I realised I've never actually done one of these and I've only ever just uploaded videos and never actually given you an insight to my life and my horse's life. So this is what this video is. It's going to show you everything there is to know, and if there is anything more you need to know, put it in the comments and I'll answer them. So let's get on with the video. So I thought I'd start off by explaining a bit about me. So I'm 15 years old, I'm from England, and I've been riding since I was 7, so for 8 years, but I had a year off where Joey was injured and I wasn't riding any horse, so technically 7 years. So I've been riding about 7 years. But I only started properly riding 3 years ago when we first got Boris, who is the main feature of this channel, because every time before that I was only riding once a week maximum. So yeah, I've been riding in total for 7 years, but only started properly riding 3 years ago. Okay, so if you know my channel, you'll know that we have 3 horses. I'll get into them a bit more later, but I mainly ride Boris, who is the cob, again, the main feature of this channel. And he is my main horse that I ride and do everything on. And then also Joey, who is the chestnut, he is also my main horse. Well, I don't do as much on him. I ride him out hacking, and I'll get more into why he only does hacking later on in the video. But so I ride Boris primarily, and then Joey I do a bit of hacking on and just lower level stuff like that. Okay, so currently the discipline that I do is dressage and a bit of jumping on the side. But in the future, I do hope to be an eventer or go into eventing of some sort, because I do just love the all-round aspect of it. Like most people I've seen, who do eventing, they enjoy the show jumping and cross-country part, but they do not enjoy the dressage part. But I actually really enjoy the dressage part as well. And up until about 2 years ago, dressage was all I ever wanted to do until I actually discovered jumping. Then I realised I wanted to do jumping. But yeah, so basically the entire time I only ever really wanted to do dressage. So I actually really enjoy that. The main discipline I do is dressage, and I do competing at that. But I currently don't have the horse to do jumping and excel at jumping. So I just mainly focus on dressage and just do a bit of jumping for fun at the side. But yeah, that's just currently what I do. So the first horse I'll introduce to the channel has obviously got to be Boris, as he is the main inspiration behind this entire channel and the reason I created it. Boris is a 14-2 cob. He is a piebald and he is my horse that I ride. My mum also shares him and rides him about once a week. We got him November 13th, 2021, so coming up to 3 years ago now. And we bought him initially as a happy hacker, but we realised the talents he has and have been doing dressage on him, jumping, and he is just the most insane pony. When we first got him and I went on my first ever hack with him, I wanted to trot towards home, which is just really stupid of me. I don't know why I did that. But I wanted to trot towards home, and it was a bit rainy and windy and stuff, and he just bolted off home and I couldn't stop him. And obviously I was still quite beginnerish because this is when I had only properly started riding multiple times a week, so I couldn't ride very well yet. So I panicked and just didn't really know what to do and just like sat there and held on tight. But yeah, so he bolted off with me, and now he is a lot more confident and I can go in that exact same spot and canter towards home bridleless, because he has progressed massively and he is so much better. Okay, so yeah, as I said, he was initially bought as a happy hacker, but as we realised what he can do, we started to do a bit more with him. So we realised that he was really, really good at dressage and could do dressage. So we took him out competing and he did super well, and we've just kind of been doing more. On Joey, I only ever did intro tests, so that's just walk and trot. So, and then when we bought Boris, I started on intro tests. Even though I could canter, I just got so nervous moving up to the next level, so I only ever did intro. And then when I did prelim for the first time, I got like 69% or something, and this is when we started to realise how good Boris is. So Boris has taken me from intro tests to novice. Back in November last year, we had a Spring Festival Championship qualifier, and we came 4th out of 20 people with 69%, and we qualified for the championship. That was in the following February. So he did super well, and that was in the novice test. And then when it came around to February, a few days before the competition, he got an injury and we couldn't take him. Luckily, I was able to borrow a horse and could take that horse to the championship, but it wasn't my own horse, so I didn't know him as well. didn't do as well. But yeah, I'm still so grateful that I was able to go. So also back in November last year, Boris started refusing a lot of jumps and going really, really slow, not having much motivation or energy towards jumps. But when we took him out hacking or flat work, he had so much energy and was just so incredible at that. So he started refusing jumps, and obviously the first instinct would be to go to pain. But like I said, at flat work and hacking, he was completely fine. He didn't have any other symptoms other than just being lazy and stopping, but he was completely fine at dressage, so active, everything, no bucking, rearing, anything like that. So there were no symptoms of pain. So we just decided to give him a 3-month break and just focus on flat work. And that made all the difference. So when we came back in March, February time, he was insane. So I had my first jump back after the 3-month break, and I did a bareback. I don't remember why I did that, but I did. And he was insane, dragging me to all the jumps and completely changed course. Yeah, but we did do flat work in between that, so it wasn't pain. Yeah, so he came back and was incredible. We had 2 and a bit jumping sessions, and then he went lame. Okay, so I thought I'd tell you a bit about his injury, as I've mentioned that twice now. Back in February, he all of a sudden went lame. I had a riding session on him the day before, and you can actually go see that vlog. It's called Spending the Weekend with Sophia. That vlog is the day before he went lame, and he was amazing. It was like the best dressage session we had ever had, which is why it was so disappointing when he did go lame, because we were finally progressing and figuring it out. So yeah, he went lame, and when I was leading him in from the field, I couldn't notice it in the field, but then when we got into harder ground, I wasn't facing him, but he was limping so much that I could feel him tugging on the lead rope. And then I turned around, saw him limping. I was like, this is not right. Like, he is so lame. So we trusted him up, and he was obviously lame. I do have a video explaining his entire injury in depth if you want to go watch that video. It's called Boris Comes Back Into Work. It's just 1 or 2 videos before this one. So yeah, if you want to go see the full video on his injury, I have posted a video on it. But I'm just doing a brief description of it for now. Okay, so a bit of a long story short, it took us 3 months to find out what the injury was, because we thought it was an abscess, but it wasn't. And then after 3 months, we took him for an MRI and found bruised pedal bone. It is now healing for the past 3 or 4 months. He's back in walk work, and he is looking really, really good. We just need the all clear from the vet to start a bit more work, but he's looking super, super good. So yeah. Hopefully he'll come back into work soon and he'll be back to normal, because his injury will heal 100%, which is super good news. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to know about Boris. Another thing about him is that we do a lot of liberty and tricks and everything like that. So one of the main features that made us famous is probably his ability to bow. On both my TikTok and Instagram, I posted this video of him bowing that blew up. It got 5.6 million views on TikTok and over 1 million on Insta. Yeah, so that obviously was one of the things that made us quite famous and well known. But yeah, so I taught him how to bow, because one day I just decided I wanted to teach him, and I managed to accomplish that. And this is with not a lot of like ideas or training to how to teach tricks. Like, this is one of the first tricks I'd ever taught a horse. And yeah, so now he can bow, which is super, super cool, and makes it much easier when I want to get on from the ground, because I'm very bad at vaulting on. Okay, other than tricks, we also do a lot of liberty. So we do a lot of tactless stuff, which is just tactless, but we are starting to do a bit more actual liberty work, which is where they have more freedom to go around and do what they want, but they engage with you and yet still able to produce lots of really cool movements and stuff like that. So recently we've been doing a lot more liberty stuff. He's been super, super good at that. I've watched lots of liberty courses and we're really progressing at that. I can't do any more until he comes back into work with trot work, because we've only just been doing it in walk, which he's been doing super well at. But yeah, hopefully when he comes back into trot work, we'll be able to progress more. Okay, so I've talked a lot about Boris, so I'm going to move on to Joey now. Joey is a 14-2 chestnut German warm blood. We got him 5, nearly 6 years ago now. He was an ex-dressage horse, and we bought him for Nicole. He was our first horse as well, by the way. We bought him for Nicole to progress on and learn on. He was the first horse we had ever bought. We'd only ever had loan horses before that. So Nicole always did dressage on him. Oh, also, if you don't know, Nicole's my sister. Yeah, so Nicole did dressage and jumping on him. We found out he was a really super jumper. A bit about his past. When he was 4 years old, he was doing really high-level dressage stuff and competing for a lot of money and everything. So he was a bit fancy. And his sire is a famous German horse called FS Don't Worry. If you search him up, he will come up. And then, yeah, so that's Joey's sire. So he comes from a very dressage home. But when we bought him, he was very green to jumping. He was insanely scopy and, yeah, had just so much ability and was mental, and just absolutely loved it. He's one of our horses that's the mental, fizzy, hot-headed one. He is very good, though. Has one of the sweetest personalities. All of our horses do, actually. They're all so sweet. So, yeah, Joey, he ex-dressage horse. He was doing a lot of jumping, and up until, like, we had him for 3 years, and then he suddenly went lame. I can't remember a lot from this time because I was quite young. I don't know. I wasn't that young, but I just, for some reason, can't remember any of it. I blocked it all out. But Joe went very lame with a torn suspensory ligament in his back leg. Obviously, if you know about suspensory ligaments, you know that these never heal 100%. They will heal, but it will always be a bit weaker, so there's always that chance of it tearing again. Obviously, this isn't great, and we knew that he couldn't get back to his normal level. And another thing, which is quite important, is when we bought him, we were lied to by his owners. We asked for his medical and vet history, and they always refused to give it to us. They always said they'd forget or whatever. And this should have been a red flag to us, but we just didn't pick up on the signs because it was our first horse. You don't always know these things. And then a year later, roughly after buying him, he was not going so well. He was almost acting a bit lame. Contacted the old owners, and they said that they used to inject him every 6 months, which is quite bad because they did not tell us about that, and he was missold to us, basically. So ever since that, we had to inject him, obviously. We had no choice. And we wanted him to be a bit healthier and happier. But if we wanted to continue riding, that is. But basically, he was in pain if we didn't inject him. And so then his suspensory ligament tore. That combined with the injections, we've decided to just give him a bit of an easier life. We would fully retire him, except he is really fat. And he puts on weight a lot. We try to keep it off with Soctane and muzzles and stuff, but it doesn't always work. He's still really fat. So the only reason we do work him at all is to keep the weight off. So he just does a bit of happy hacking, very simple. And then recently, like when Boris went lame a few months ago, I was taking him out to a bit more shows because of how much dressage he used to do. He hates dressage. So I was taking him out to a few more shows, like show jumping shows and everything like that. Just maximum 60 centimeters, but just to have a bit more fun. And he absolutely loved it. We wouldn't take it to him if he didn't love it, but he goes like mental for them. He always like drags me to jumps and everything, so he absolutely loves it. But he is having a bit of an easier life than he used to, because before he went lame, he did like a meter course with Nicole, so he was doing super well. Okay, so this brings me on to the final horse, which is Bosco. Bosco is, we reckon, a 17-2 dappled and flea-bitten Irish sports horse. He was registered as 16-3 when we bought him, but he's grown a lot and he looks to be more 17-2. He's also been built up more with muscle and he looks more 17-2, but we do need to measure him. I'll do that at some point if we can find a measuring stick. He is massive. He is Nicole's horse, my sister. I'll put her Instagram and TikTok up here, her username. He is Nicole's horse and he is extremely talented. We got him before Boris. He was the second horse we got, and he is about 9 or 10 now, and I think he was 6 when we bought him. So we've had him for nearly 4 years. But yeah, so he is Nicole's horse. We initially bought him for her as a youngster to produce, because obviously he's 6 years old. He was very young, he was very spooky, he needed a lot of groundwork, and he could jump, but he knocked down every single 50 centimetre or 40 centimetre jump there was. He just never picked up his legs. But yeah, so his main discipline is now eventing. He is super talented at that, and after a lot of work, he is so much better. Nicole currently does AT eventing on him, just unaffiliated, but he is super good at that. He just needs to learn to pick up his legs, but he is getting there. He is doing so much better now than what he started with. I've ridden him and he is insanely talented. He's got a lot of spring in him, especially being 17-2. Absolutely dwarfs everything. Okay, now Boris is obviously my main horse, and Joey I just do a bit of happy hacking on. But Bosco I've ridden a few times. There was once I rode him as part of a deal me and Nicole had, where I jumped Bosco and she took Boris to a show. It's not entirely fair, show jumping show. It's not entirely fair deal, but I was younger, so I couldn't ride as well. So when I jumped him, I only did tiny cross poles, and the max I did was like 40 centimeters, 50 centimeters, and he did super well to put up with my riding, to be honest. That was back in September 2022, so 2 years ago now. And then I rode him again last winter, and that was part of my birthday present, even though my birthday's in May, which was rather delayed, but I had a jumping lesson on him. We ended up doing 115 as part of a grid. I'm going to be honest, he did just take me down it. Like, he was super good, much easier than the horses I was used to, but a grid is easier than if you're properly riding him. But then pony camp, that has just gone back in August. Boris was not healed yet, he was still injured, so I took Bosco for the week at pony camp, and he was insane. It was definitely a lot of riding, and I learned a lot on him, but he's not an easy horse, but he was super talented, especially cross country. It was my first ever time cross country on him, and on the second session we did this massive corner that was about 1 meter tall, really wide. I'm not sure how wide, but it was really wide, and it was quite scary, but he just floated over it, of course, making it look easy. Another thing about Bosco is that currently Nicole was at uni and she's doing a 5-year course of vet med, but we kept Bosco, we didn't sell him. So we have a sharer for him who rides him and does everything for him, because I would ride him, except I'm coming up to my GCSE year now. I'm going into year 11 and I'm not going to have the time to ride him as much. So yeah, we have a share of him, and then when Nicole comes back, she rides him and shares him. I think that is all that there is to know about the horses. If there are any more questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer pretty much whatever. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you next vlog. Crazy.